Finally. Good.
Hi.
Yes. Hi,
Yes.
hi, hi. Hi.
So I was
Thank you
just
for having me.
introducing you. So thank you so much for coming on live with us. So for all the people who are here, there were a bunch of people who joined us earlier too, but yeah, due to technical issues, we had to shut. But Swapnil, if you can quickly start and you can tell us a bit more about yourself and how you started this journey.
Uh, uh, how did I start this journey?
Okay, let me just break it down to you.
It,
So when did you
yeah.
fall in love with cinematography?
Uh, I think it was a very gradual this thing to get into cinematography. The thing is that I'm from Pune. My father had a very professional, very beautiful. We had a color lab where films used to get processed and printed, all of it manually, nothing digital. This was that time. And so
Right.
I've always had photography in the house, one way or the other. And so image making in general was around. My father was not only he didn't only own like a processing lab, but his background was from art. Like he went to an art school. So
Okay.
decent aesthetics, good music, those kind of things were always around.
Okay.
And somehow I kind of fell in love with movies to start with, and then what could I how trying to figure how could I contribute to it, and I think images is the way I could contribute, and that's how I think cinematography came around.
Oh, that's amazing. So I think you just skipped the whole part of convincing your parents of taking something very unconventional because you belong to such a family who's.
No, no, they were actually quite terrified if I would have told them that I wanted to do like I was really bad at studies. So they knew
Okay.
it had to be something completely different. They knew it couldn't be your regular route of doing BCom science or something like that. That I wouldn't have handled anyways. So yeah, they knew it was it had to be something completely different that I kind of chose for myself.
Okay. So you went to
Skip,
Mindscape Film Institute, right? So how was your
yeah.
journey there? Like, what did you study? Was it a specialization in something?
Uh, Mindscreen happened because I mean it was a long route by to get to Mindscreen. I did my art school, which was in Pune. Then tried to apply. I tried getting into FTII, which didn't happen. I applied for 4 years back to back. Didn't get through. And during those 4 years, I was in Bombay working in advertising as a graphic designer. So
Okay.
while my love was still cinematography and cinema in general, I had to find something new to do, and Bombay was a city that I was, enamored by at the time, and it still am. So Grant came like finished my art school, came to Bombay, started working with an ad agency while still applying to FTII and those kind of things. Uh, I just couldn't get into FTI. And my our creative director from the agency, at one point, he knew like I was spending more time watching movies than actually working in the agency. So he knew that the love lied somewhere else and not here. And he knew a cinematographer. He
Okay.
knew a cinema, and he very kindly said that why don't I introduce you to him? Just go and meet him and talk to him and see. And he knew like I was trying for FTI and wasn't happening, those kind of things. So this cinematographer turned out to be Bobby Singh,
Okay.
who came as like the most amazing person at the time. I just went and met him, and he was like, "Why don't let go of your agency life right now because you're earning your bread and butter
Right.
there. Don't let go of that, but why don't you come on set for like a good 15, 20 days and see if this is what you want to let go of what you have. And
Right.
I came back to the agency. My creative director was very happy. He was more than happy to let me go for 15 days. And I went on set and like absolutely fell in love, felt at home, and knew that this is exactly where I wanted to be. came back, quit my job, and started working with him, and that's
Okay.
how it started. Then when he saw that I was very serious about it, he suggested, why don't you try, film school? And I told him that I couldn't get into FTI. He suggested Mindscreen because A, it was a 6 months course, and B, also because it was started by a cinematographer. It started by Rajiv Menon, who's a fantastic cinematographer himself, So
Right.
because it's been started by a cinematographer, and it was dedicated to cinematography only. So we only had 16 odd students in our class for 6 months, and nobody else. And that was the entire course, and it was very, airtight, hectic 6 months, which were fantastic for me. I mean, I think those were more than enough for me to kind of get out of the advertising world, and kind of push myself completely into cinematography and cinema and image making in general. We had a great dean who's one of the most amazing teachers I've ever met. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, the journey to Mindscreen was, or to a film school, was that.
Okay. Amazing. So after that, how did you get your first project? So like normal colleges do you all have something called as placements, or do you just have to go around
No, no,
applying
there are
to
no
post?
placements. I've been extremely lucky. So I came back, thankfully, because I was assisting Bobby sir before I went to the film school. I knew once my 6 months were done, I could. One second, there's something happening here.
Guys, you're watching this, you can post your comments below so that he can take it up at the end of the session.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
So yeah, we were talking about
Project, you
what?
came back and your
So
first
yeah, so
project. Yeah.
correct. So thankfully, I had Bobby sir to come back to. I started assisting him. I assisted him for a film and a half, almost, and then assisted another cinematographer while Bobby sir was busy. I assisted another cinematographer for a film, and then this was also the time when DSLRs, were coming out with video shooting capabilities,
Right.
which was like an absolute new thing then, that this was still when films were being shot on film and not digital. Digital was still getting, introduced, and it wasn't as good as it is now. But
Yeah.
so these SLR small tiny cameras had come out. I bought one for myself, and I would go out and shoot for nobody, for myself, and shoot video, not just stills, but shoot video and meet people. And I would go to Crawford Market, go there, and if I find an interesting character, just follow him for like whatever 20 minutes, see where he goes, what he does, do a small 5 minute bite with him as to who he is and all, and put a video together. I would
Okay.
do that a lot. So somebody saw that, and then somebody from my agency time also knew that I had quit advertising and joined, got into cinematography. So that person kind of helped. He suggested my name for what became my first independent job, which was Doerist,
Okay.
which at the time was the best thing that could have happened to me. It was music, travel, and me behind camera. So I don't know how many people know about Duelist, but Duelist was something where have you heard of Duelist?
Yeah, the MTV one, right? Oh, that's a different
MTV
one.
one was sound tripping. Yeah, that was sound
Okay.
tripping. That came after.
Um,
So,
okay.
so the Duelist was where we had two musicians completely different. We would take them to a completely different place somewhere very interesting around the country, put them
Okay.
in one room, and then get them to make one song. And
Oh,
while all of this was happening, do like a really nice travel music. And this was before any of these travel shows had come out. This was
amazing.
like the first one to happen. And that broke out really well, And it wasn't just me. We were three cinematographers shooting it simultaneously. It was me, Jay Oza, who shot Gully Boy.
Okay.
Then there was Tanay, who's recently shot a Netflix show and shot like a film called 99 Songs, which is fantastic. So all three of us shot this together with three cameras, so that became like the first job. And the moment that started happening, then I quit assisting. Then I kept on working on trying to find projects, which were just amazing. Most of them were travel documentary sort of things.
Okay, that's amazing.
That's how first jobs
So
happen.
so how did you get into more of a commercial space when it comes to Angry Indian? That's not also Angry Indian or Goddesses. You can't call it a commercial movie as such, but still it's a big screen movie. So how did you move from your MTV tripping to this?
Again, right after, in fact, sound tripping, uh, uh, I was still. This was just I had finished sound tripping, and around the same time, Kumbh Mela was happening. And I
Okay.
would usually just cut a train ticket, take my cameras, go there, make pictures all by myself or with a couple of friends or something like that. So that used to be a normal plan for Kumbh. But this time I got a call from Pan Nalin, whom I knew and who had done amazing films that I had seen and all of that. And he was shooting a documentary then in Kumbh. And this is like it was all by chance. I was supposed to leave for Kumbh today from Pune and get a call saying that he's shooting a documentary here. He wants somebody who can shoot it for him like as a second camera. Would you be interested? I'm like, of course I'll be interested. They said that there might not be any money in it. I was coming there anyways. So they cut a flight ticket for me. The next morning I was there and I started shooting with Pan Nalin of that documentary. Now that documentary, Angry Indian Goddesses, was directed by Pan Nalin. So
Yeah.
that documentary kind of was where both of us kind of found a relationship. I absolutely loved the way he worked and what he did, and it was insane to watch him work and create drama out of uh, real things. These were the documentary that we shot in Kumbh was called Faith Connections. It was me and another cinematographer, Anuj Dhawan. Both of us shot it, mostly him than me, but it was insane. We would be walking all over the Kumbh for like good 18 hours a day or more and all of that, and finding stories. And
Right.
so I think that gave him confidence to kind of ask me to do Angry Indian Goddesses. I think, you know,
Okay. So you
we
said you were
absolutely
not.
enjoyed working there.
Cool, that's amazing.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, no, sorry.
So
So about Angry Indian Goddesses, you were saying that it's not a commercial. It's definitely not a commercial film.
right.
It was the best thing that could have happened to me at the time because it wasn't a very typical Bombay feature film. Because
Right.
it was more like a family coming together, living in one house and shooting in another house. That's how the crew and it was like that. So it was a
Okay.
really tight family who just went to Goa and like with some incredible actors and we would go out and he would concord some scenes and then we would go out and shoot them. So it was like that. So it wasn't like a very typical shooting day.
Okay, that's amazing. So you said your first project when you went to Kumbh, you were not paid, and since you were traveling, you just went and it just happened. So for people who want to start their career in this, we all
Yeah.
know that the movie industry doesn't pay really well to freshers. So what advice do you have for such people?
Agreed that I think no industry pays to start. Maybe if you are out of some Harvard or something, you get like a great paycheck to start with. But you have to prove your metal. But it's also the time. I didn't mind not getting paid like whatever lakhs and lakhs of rupees to do something like that. Also, these projects were way too personal to get really well paid on, and the money was more than enough for me. Like it was more than enough for me to pay rent, have a great weekend, still travel again on my own, and all of that. So all of that. is uh, so I don't think new kids who are coming on the block uh, should really look at the monies to start with. You get projects. If you should look at projects that really interest you and inspire you to kind of work really hard and put your 110% into it and all of that. Then money. I think it follows. If you keep on working, if you do something that somebody likes, this they suggest you to some, and that's exactly how I've gotten work all these years. That I did something, they liked it. Either they called me back or they suggested my name to somebody else, and that's how I kept on getting more and more.
Okay. So let's talk about Sacred Games now. How did you come across Anuraka Shop, or how was your experience working on Sacred Games, and how did you end up getting the project?
I mean, Sacred Games is the season one and two were shot by season one. In fact, was two directors, two completely different directors. One director, Anurag, being one director who shot the Nawaz portion, and Vikramaditya Motwane being the second director who shot the entire Saif Ali Khan portion. And I shot with Vikram the entire Saif Ali Khan portion, his side of the story. And in the second season, I shot same the Saif Ali Khan portion, but with Neeraj Gehwan. Uh, uh, so it was divided like that. So I didn't really.
Okay.
I met. Oh, hello.
One second. Yeah, sorry.
So I got introduced to Vikram again by it was by chance and by one of the loveliest producers that we have in the industry right now, Arya Menon, whom I had done like a commercial with, and
Okay.
now we've become like really good friends and all. But she introduced me to Vikram for the project, and that's how we met and then kind of clicked over his love of photography. So Vikram has a really great sense of image making himself. He's a fantastic. He understands cameras and lensing and all of that, which usually a director doesn't really have to know. And that's why you have a cinematographer. But here, Vikram, you can talk like cameraman's lingo to a director, and that's Vikram. So that's why we
Okay.
connected. I think man, that's how we met.
So how was it working with Saif Ali Khan? So for him also, I think it was one of a non-commercial part. It was India's first Netflix original. So it was new
Yeah.
for him, and I think it was new for you. So how was it working with big movie star
Uh,
who's doing something experimental?
so just before Sacred Games, in fact, I had worked with Saif on Bazaar, right, with which was
Oh
directed
yeah,
by
what's that?
another.
Right.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
directed by a friend Gaurav, and that's where we met. And I knew he's a very very chilled out, cool guy to work with. And it was amazing that he took Sacred Games up and gave everything that he had and kind of absolutely beautifully redefined the way he did things. Also, we didn't look at it as like from when we were shooting, we didn't really look at it as India's first Netflix show or anything. We looked at it as a movie, and we, just put in everything that we had to make sure that this movie becomes like an experience. And we had fantastic directors, we had great writers. The cast was amazing. Everybody from, Nawaz's team and Seth, this side. So the
Yeah.
cast in general was brilliant. So I think all of that kind of made into like an interesting show.
Okay. So we have, I think, one question somebody's asking. Um,
Hi, Ishika. Sorry, yeah.
assisting or film school, which makes you understand the craft more? Is film school necessary?
And this question has been asked so much these days in all these, I mean, both are great. People have like some of the greatest cinematographers that India has seen, like what Ashok Mehta and Shubrata Mitra, who shot Satyajit Ray's film. These guys didn't go to any film school, and came out like, in fact, Ashok Mehta started by being like a spot boy on set and became one of the greatest cinematographers that India has ever seen. So, and there's that, and then as I've said, that there's somebody like Tasadduk who shot, Omkara, and he went to a really amazing film school in the US, came back, and really at the time, Omkara and Kamine, these kind of movies changed the way changed the way films were shot in India. So both work. I mean, depends. If you have the time and the money and all of that to go to a film school and get that experience, of course, like an art school really helped me. I mean, I'm not doing anything that the art school gave me as a profession, but the five
I
years that
think
I
that
got in
happens
the
to
art,
most of the students in India that they study
yeah,
something and do something. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that
Uh,
time is important that one gets.
right. So there's another question. I think you already almost answered it. Being a management student, I've always had the question that where can the not media background people start from?
The not media background people.
So he's done management basically. He's not from a media background. So how can he get into
Correct.
this?
And he's interested in cinematography.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
assuming. I think.
okay. I mean, because you can start by watching great films, trying to get into if film school is what if he's really young and wants to still has the years on his back, then yeah, film school would be a great way to get into it. Giving it that time, giving yourself that time to understand cinema and why cinematography or why image making itself. Uh, all of this is way more important than really what camera and what megapixel and all. So that is one thing, that you'll get to understand anyways. But like why images is a much better question. So I mean, starting to take pictures and photographs and those kind of things might just be a nicer way to just dip your feet in it. But then if you're really serious about it, then yeah, either you start assisting somebody or start go out and do a course, which helps, I guess.
Yeah. So Sapna, when you said you tried for film school for 4 years and you couldn't get through, so did you ever have this self-doubt that maybe this is not for me, or like how
No.
were you so consistent?
No,
Okay.
because there was nothing to see. The thing is that there was nothing to lose, right? Like all I
Right.
had to do was keep at it. I knew like one way or the other, I'll find myself on a set. So there was,
Right.
so yeah. I mean, every time somebody like I would get like it wasn't just FTI. It was I tried my luck at London Film School, though I couldn't afford it and all of that. I just tried applying, and they said, no, your whatever your folio isn't good enough, and it's just weird because I mean, a good folio is something that you get post a film school, or whatever. But
Okay.
no, I don't think at that time at least there was no going
Okay.
back. I
Right.
knew I'll keep trying at it till at least I get on set, and then if I'm really bad at it or suck at it or whatever, I'll know then. The point then was just to put yeah, and there's this. Uh, I don't know. There's always if you're really trying hard, there's something which where your brain kind of shuts a part of your at least that's what happens to me. Like it shuts a part which kind of tells me that it can't happen, and
Right.
and so you're not thinking about that.
Listening.
You're purely
Yeah.
yeah, you're purely running towards one thing, and which is just and which was interesting because after Angry Indian Goddesses, I got a massive, it just gave me a massive jolt as to the fact that okay, fuck, okay, the first film happened. Now, okay, I can call myself a DOP or a cinematographer. Now what? Like the run was towards that,
Right.
so then post that finding things to do things in sense keep your interest alive is like that's the new goal, you know, to
All right.
find new things to do.
So amazing. So, Swapnil, we're just moving to the last section. I'll be
Yeah.
asking you questions really fast, and you have to answer them really fast.
Okay.
Cool. So, which is the last good movie or series you saw?
So many. But the last good series was it's on Amazon Prime. It's called Tales from the Loop. I
Oh,
absolutely loved it. The music was by Philip Glass, which is just fantastic.
and the movie?
And a movie would be what did I see? Um, Recently. Oh, fuck, I saw Once Upon a Time in America again. Like, uh,
Okay.
so
Okay, we'll count that.
yeah,
Movie you
yeah.
wish you were a part of?
Uh, would have
You have
been
to be
cool to
quick.
be. Maybe would have been cool to be on the sets of, I guess, Jaane Bhi Do Yaro or something.
Okay. A book you'd recommend people who are watching this or all the people who are aspiring to be a director of photography?
Oh, I'll suggest a couple. Sorry, yeah. I recently got these. I had them. Then I've bought these books so many times. Like I have them, and then I meet somebody that I really like, and I give them the copy that I have. Then I buy them again. So there's one which is Joseph Kundelka, who's a photographer. He's a Magnum photographer. Brilliant work. I'll show you one photograph that I absolutely love from his series, which is there's one with the horse. Yeah, which is one is this. Yeah. Just black and white. Then a photographer that I really recently discovered is Gordon Parks. Again, an American photographer who's just like his photographs are almost cinema, you know. Like you can say
Okay.
so much. And then there's Cortez, whom I absolutely love. Ishika Singh, so much for the rapid fire. Okay,
Rapid
that's
fire.
as rapid as it can get. So these books, I mean, well, yeah, most of like I have a lot of photo books that I absolutely enjoy going through again.
All right, cool. What is the toughest thing about a job?
Toughest thing about my job, um, to keep yourself fresh, I think, uh,
Okay.
and sane, and to keep in mind that the first reason that you got into it, you know, to keep you constantly kind of keep reminding yourself that okay, you love movies, you love images, and that's why you're here. You love movies and you love images, and that's why you're here. To keep reminding yourself that I think is it's tough, and I think it's important.
Right. What did you ever have this time where you could not just get the right take? So how many retakes did you have to take? So this is the question. So what was the number, the maximum retakes you had to give?
I think it's not much. Like it's not a lot of takes because I was fucking up. I try not to, but yeah, I mean, but not so many. Not that I would remember a number.
Okay. Cool. If
There was
not a
actually
cinematographer,
there's actually on the second film there was a action sequence where which was Zuban, where Vicky was getting in the scene. Vicky Kaushal is getting beaten up by these bad guys, and I've never done like an action scene or sequence or whatever, and it was his father, Sham Kaushalji, who was the action director on it,
right.
and I had to, he gets punched and then he goes down and all of that, and it was hard for Vicky with all the blood, and he's being in the character, and I had to be here and then be there as he goes down, with my camera and go down with him. And the thing is that I had suggested the shot, so I had to make sure that it was right. And yeah, that took some three or four takes, which was kind of annoying to me. And I kept on saying that oh, it's okay, we'll get it in the next one. So yeah, for some 4 or 5 takes is There are times, I
Okay.
guess, more. I don't know.
But that's not bad. I think 4 5 days is fine.
Yeah.
So, if not, the next question is, if not a director of photography, if not a cinematographer, what would you be in life?
I feel like Kokila would slap me for saying this, but I would have loved to be an architect or something.
Okay.
You know, but the
One.
architects are just too smart. They're just amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think architecture is like is probably I would bite my own tongue and even say that it's probably the greatest form of art, at least in my head. It's bigger than everything because uh, that's where I mean you build a space and that's where cinema happens or music happens and all of that. So I feel yeah, would have loved to be an architect, though you had to have science and all of that. That was
Yeah.
no good at any of it.
Okay. One thing you regret not having been done till now, not having done till now.
Traveling enough, and especially in these times, I'm like
Now you can't
I
blame anyone.
yeah, not blame, but like no, I should have like I think I was traveling more when I had no money at all,
Okay.
uh, and like that kind of went down in the past 5 years, where I haven't been traveling as much. Like I've been traveling a lot for work, but
Right.
you know, would love to travel for no reason.
Okay. Perfect. Who's the best cinematographer according to you?
There are too many. There's
Okay. Name three.
Sven Nykvist, then Gordon Willis, then Roger Deakins, then Shubrata
Okay.
Mitra.
Good.
Uh,
Which is your favorite project? And this is the last question of the session.
all of them have been very interesting.
Yeah. Sorry.
Um,
Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah, I can. Can you?
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
you got cut in the middle. I think it's fine now. So, which is your favorite project? This is the last question.
Not one, yeah. All of them have been amazing in one way or the other.
Okay, just
Either,
name three again. Top
sorry?
three favorite project.
Of course, Angry Indian Goddesses because it was my first film. Uh, then Sacred Games because I met some really amazing people on it, like first season and second season. Uh, then Bazaar would be because I met I've made a good friend, I think there. But yeah, what else have I done? I did I did one Marathi film called Dappa where I met a fantastic director who's now a very good friend again.
Right. Okay. I think we've covered most of the questions. Uh, so thank you so much. Is there any message you want to give to people who are watching this or are aspiring to become cinematographers in a very short sentence? If you can just tell them something.
Uh, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, for now, at least in this whole scenario, just stay safe and uh, yeah. Being a cinematographer, yeah, I mean, it's it's a fantastic. I couldn't have had asked for a better life than what I'm leading right now, as a cinematographer. So if you're up to if you know what you're getting into and if this is what you want to do and love and all of that, put your whatever 130% on it, and then you
Right.
hopefully get there.
Shivangani has
There's
said she
some.
loves the short films.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Can you tell us about a journey and of photography? I think we can you answer that? I
Sorry,
think
well,
we crossed
can you tell
time.
us about
Can you
your
tell us
journey into analog photography? Okay, so uh, even though my father had a color lab and we uh, like it was film and processing and all of that, at one point when it turned digital, I in one of my diaries I had written, now my dark room is not dark, it's backlit because your computer and a screen on your so. But in the past 2 years, as film has picked up all over the world a bit, I've kind of gotten back into analog photography and um, shooting on like really old film cameras and kind of having some. I'll show you one that I have. This is from the 30s that I'm shooting during my in the during our, during the quarantine. This is what I'm shooting on these days.
Yeah, we see it
Yeah,
on your Instagram. It's
yeah.
amazing.
So yeah, I mean, thankfully, as everybody is saying, film is not dead. We You still can buy film, and it's a great way to kind of slow your process down and not go banging on your shutter, but just to slow everything down and take your time with a frame and compose it the way you exactly want, and I don't know, make one image at a time, and not go out and shoot. That's
Right.
about, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so
It's
much,
called
Swapnil.
speed
Thank you so
graphic.
much.
Yeah, no, somebody asked me
Okay.
what it's called. It's called a
What is
speed
it called?
graphic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called a speed
Okay.
graphic. Yeah.
All right. I think we've answered most of the questions. If you guys have anything else, y'all can ping us. We can trouble Swapnil again and get back to y'all. Or you can reach out to him on his Instagram channel. Whatever he suggested, we will be uploading it again on our story, so y'all can go through that again. So thank you so much, Swapnil. I think I'm working. Okay, there's another something come up. I'm working on 35 films. Kent,
Yeah, yeah.
Bloomer,
Kent, so
okay, it's
Kentmer
you.
is like Kodak. There's another brand called Kentmer. Yeah,
All right.
it's good stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, good, Nanath. Thank you so much, Swapnil, for coming on live with us.
Thank
It
you
was
for
great to
having me.
meet you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Amit. Bye bye. How do I get? Yeah.